What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Ellie Goulding's fifth album, Higher Than Heaven. Yes, the British pop star is back. Only a 3-year wait between albums this time. It had been a 5-year wait between the last album we got in 2020. So Ellie's back a little bit sooner. And I think this is a very interesting time to be getting an Ellie Goulding album because, of course, she has a monster hit out right now with Calvin Harris, brand new song from this year, Miracle, which is really big worldwide and incredibly big, specifically in the UK. And that song is not found on this new Ellie Goulding album, which I think is uh, almost like commendable in the sense that Ellie isn't tacking on the big hit onto this new record of hers. And Higher Than Heaven, Ellie Goulding has been proudly repeating a lot that this is her quote least personal album to date, but she's quite proud of that fact and thinks this is her best record. And I have to say, I really enjoyed Higher Than Heaven a lot more than I certainly expected to. Ellie Goulding, female pop star in her mid 30s. Unfortunately, the times we live in, the music industry that we know, not always is kind to aging pop stars, especially the female ones, right? I don't know how many people are necessarily checking for the next Ellie Goulding record, but I hope people do because I think this is a really engaging record. And she certainly deserves, I think, a lot of attention on this. Whether she gets it or not, I don't know. It's not necessarily going to be fair if it goes that way, but it wouldn't also shock us, right? Higher Than Heaven, I think, is honestly just really consistent. It's Ellie really leaning into that electro pop vibe that she's made her name on, made her career on, right? Think back to the biggest hits like Lights and Burn and her previous Calvin Harris collaboration, Need Your Love. Ellie Goulding is right at home with this kind of production style. And she decided on Higher Than Heaven to just make an album full of that. Great idea, in my opinion, because I think it sounds great. Right off the bat, track one, Midnight Dreams, groovy as hell. She sounds so good. I don't necessarily need Ellie Goulding to get super in the weeds with stuff. Like she said, she's not getting too deep, but I think it's fine because it's a great match between her vocals. She's not the most amazing singer in the world, but she knows what kind of vocalist she is, and she knows that she sounds good on this type of beat. And yeah, I think it's a great match. A great, I think just a great like form of vision, honestly, to meld these vocals onto this style of music. You know, Midnight Dreams, super groovy. Right after that, track two, Cure for Love, really high tempo song once again, has these big breakdowns. I think she's just really at home on this kind of music. Track four, Like a Savior, almost a bit of a house vibe, but again, like this high tempo music, she just sounds so at home on. She sounds so good on Easy Lover featuring Big Sean. Perhaps a bit of a random feature pull at first glance. There was a lot of features on the last album, though, so it's not the most out there thing there. Big Sean sounds fine, but Easy Lover, again, like this drum production just really speaks to me. And lyrically, actually, Julia Michaels is a co-writer on this, so perhaps this is one of the ones that might engage people the most on a writing perspective. But again, I don't think that's the appeal of this album. Why you should be going in, just really just be here to sit with these vibes, man. Because I think her vocals are still incredibly smooth, but she almost like gets livened up by these kind of beats. Uh, yeah, keeping it going. How Long, another one I just quite enjoyed. Right after that, Temptation, you get some synths popping in really for the first time on the record, sound good, and the drum line again just really sticks with you. Intuition, I think the chorus from Ellie sounds tremendous, but again, this drum tempo is really great. Just again, loving the vibe, you know. So overall, I would say for a pop star releasing a fifth record, her popularity as a soloist seemingly has began to wane. It's a really impressive effort. I'm quite pleased with this. I hope it gets the attention it does outside the UK. She's always been a bigger artist in the UK than she has been in the US. I think it's definitely deserving of this because this is the kind of music that you would think would at least find a home on playlisting and get programmed and draw streams that way, right? Maybe if people aren't necessarily connecting to Ellie Goulding, the artist, they probably would connect with this kind of music because it's not super dissimilar to a lot of other stuff that finds success. I think it's better than a lot of that stuff too. It's just a matter of fact of whether she and everything that goes into that kind of feat, label promotion and distribution and things, whether this music can get in front of enough people. Because I think people that listen to this will quite enjoy it. Um, like I said, bit commendable to not tack on the Calvin Harris collaboration to this album to use that to juice streams and get attention. It's really admirable to not quote sell out, even though it's a song you made, you earned that just as much as Calvin Harris did in terms of that being a hit. But alas, she didn't do that. So I hope Higher Than Heaven can attract people because I think on its own merits, it's a really catchy, fun listen. It's a long album; it's almost 50 minutes, but um, I just quite enjoyed most of it. So I would recommend people check it out. But let me know, how'd you feel about Ellie Goulding's album? Did it surprise you the way it surprised me? And for more music reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.